Jerry Jones, on his many radio appearances, he was on the radio there in Dallas, and he asserted that it is not crazy to think about Mike McCarthy, who's a lame duck coach, sticking around in Dallas. Let's go to the audio tape. Take a listen.
Is it crazy to think that at the end of this season we could be talking about an extension for Mike McCarthy?
Well, I don't think that's crazy at all. That's not crazy. Listen, Mike McCarthy is an outstanding coach. He's a Super Bowl winning coach. Mike McCarthy has been there, done that. He's got great ideas.
All right, so he went on and on. Now, one of the clips that I saw, Jerry Jones asserted that Troy Aikman, during a recent Monday Night Football broadcast, had waxed loquacious about the virtues of Mike McCarthy, and also mentioned the fact that he's a Super Bowl winning coach and blah, blah, blah. But the reality is this. The Cowboys, as we do the show today, the Dallas Cowboys are 4-7. Right? They're 4-7. They just snapped a 5-game losing streak on Sunday in Washington. But you're 4-7. You suck. So let us discuss the question. Jerry Jones, as you heard, said it's not crazy. He parroted the question from the radio guy in Dallas there on the Fan. I kind of like the ticket more. But Jerry Jones says it's not crazy that the Cowboys would keep Mike McCarthy. So can you put some odds on this, the future of Mike McCarthy staying in Dallas? So I've got nibble, pedigree, and chess. And we will combine all of these things together, and we will toss you into the matrix, is what we're going to do. So, I'm going to set the Maller Sportsbook odds on Mike McCarthy getting a contract extension at plus 150 from the Dallas Cowboys. Plus 150. Now, Maller Sportsbook odds, plus 150. That implies there is a 40% chance. A 40% chance that this happens. A 60% chance that it's na-na-na-na, na-na-na-na, hey, goodbye, get out of here. Jerry Jones has actually been very loyal, to a fault, to suckbag coaches that he has employed over the years. The most famous, the Clapper. Clap on, clap off, the Clapper, Jason Garrett. So we know that Jerry likes change about as much as a turtle. He just doesn't like to make change. He wants to keep the players. He wants to keep the coaches there. He will change the players more than the coaches. And Jerry wants to be in total control. He owns the team. He's the GM. And he futzed around with big-name coaches, big personality. Bill Parcells helped him out back in the day, and it didn't really work out that well. The famous story about Jimmy Johnson in the early days. And so Mike McCarthy is a relative big name. He's certainly got a big belly. And McCarthy is a kind of a guy that has that reputation. They love the reputation, championship reputation. It makes me want to puke in my mouth when I hear that. But ultimately, I still say there's a 60% chance McCarthy's gone, 40% chance that he stays. Now, a lot of this is in control of the coaching staff and the players, how they perform. Obviously, they're the ones that will write the rest of the story. The story has not been written all the way. At this point in the story, it's a sob story. The Cowboys do close out the season. They have the hostess schedule. They've got ding-dongs, fruit pies, and cupcakes. That's what's upcoming. They play the Giants. That's a ding-dong. That's on Thanksgiving. They follow that up with the Bengals that have been a fruit pie, and then finish that up with the Panthers, who are a cupcake. And that's what they have up ahead. So those are all winnable games. The problem is the Cowboys are a snowball. That's what the Cowboys are. So they're all mixed together. Those teams are looking at the Cowboys saying, well, we can get a win. Dallas is terrible. And they're right. So the odds still favor a change. Since the expansion to 17 games, it was way back in 2021, I barely remember it, there have been two teams that have made the playoffs after starting the year 4-7. That was Jacksonville in 2022 and Tampa Bay last season. However, there is a caveat to that, and the caveat is that both those teams that won the division had sub 500 records. Right? The Eagles are 9-2. They're not going to finish with a losing record. The math on that does not work out. So they're already 9-2. Now, one thing, though, I will say, I think we can all agree on this, that Jerry Jones, he's all about the story. It's all about the story. He loves to nibble around the edges of stories like this, where he gives a vague answer that is open to interpretation. For people like myself and other gas bags and blowhards who analyze these comments and parse the words, and by nibbling around and giving vague comments that can be interpreted multiple ways, you are feeding the content machine. We know that Jerry has said many times that his goal is to generate headlines. And if things are slow in Dallas, Jerry has admitted he likes to stir it up. That's part of his job. That's why the Cowboys are worth more money than anyone else. So that is definitely a factor in all this. Now, page 2. What is the sales pitch? You are the agent for Mike McCarthy. What is the sales pitch to Jerry Jones to convince Jerry to keep Mike McCarthy as the coach? You make the call. So the obvious answer is pedigree. That Jerry Jones, we talked about this, he referenced the Super Bowl winning coach. He brought up Troy Aikman and waxing loquacious about that. Now, does Jerry Jones realize that Troy Aikman slobbers over just about every head coach in the NFL? Probably not. Perhaps not. To my knowledge, though, Troy rarely will say anything negative about any of these cats, and why would he? If you're a broadcaster, you schmooze in production meetings with the head coach. They're the ones that you hang out with, you golf with them in the off season, and they're the ones that feed you all the information, the head coaches. So why would you say anything negative about anybody? But the selling point, get to the point, please. The selling point for Mike McCarthy is continuity. That's the selling point, that you follow the Golden Arches mantra. It is maintain consistency. That wherever you go in the world, if you get a Big Mac and fries, it's going to be the same quality in any location. Maybe other than India, where I think they have like a veggie version of the Big Mac. But other than that, right? And so if the Cowboys are going to be a model franchise, which they're not, but in theory, that's the goal. And so they need continuity, stability, and they also need cohesion. And so Mike McCarthy is a symbolic figure in all of that. Now, the easier move would be to get rid of Mike McCarthy, and then you have the fear of the unknown, though, and you might hire another bozo as the head coach. So we'll see. And Mike McCarthy's got friends in the media. I've already seen some stories planted about how Mike McCarthy's going to end up getting another head coaching job, and it's all going to line up for him, et cetera, et cetera. All right, last word. So staying with the Dallas Cowboys, defensive star Micah Parsons has done it yet again. Micah Parsons says the Cowboys do not plan on tanking. Your thoughts? All right, so Parsons showing a profound lack of understanding about how tanking works. He made these comments after the Cowboys beat Washington. It's not done at that level. It's done at a higher level. It's not done in the locker room. It's not done with the coaches. They don't want that stank all over them. This is done at a much higher point in the franchise. I'm talking ownership, senior executives. The front office is playing 3D chess. And they don't always get it right. You can never admit, the first rule of tanking is to never admit that you're tanking. Cannot do it. But we know for a fact that teams tank all the time. The Cleveland Browns got caught tanking, and it didn't work out. They haven't won anything other than one playoff game when Ben Roethlisberger handed them the game. But you can't admit it because you end up in the doghouse, so you don't publicly admit you're tanking. But there is a method to the madness. And I think we all know the method, if you pay attention. The method is the football ops department recommends certain players get together. It's like putting the ingredients together for a meal that you know is going to be terrible. Like, let's put some toothpaste and some orange juice together, and we'll mix that up together, and it's going to be wonderful. It's an act of sabotage is what it is.